Welcome and thank you for joining us today. My name is Gary Smith, President of Rochester Area Economic Development. We've got a great program for you today, but let me start by thanking those who make it all possible. First, let's start with our platinum sponsor, CenturyLink. Thank you. I'd also like to thank our event sponsors, Custom Alarm, Dunlap & Seeger, Knutson Construction, McGladrey, Minnesota Energy, People's Cooperative Services, RPU, and U.S. Bank. There are also a number of table sponsors out there. We appreciate all your support. I'd also like to this time thank staff members Tanya Bernard and Molly Schmidt for all their hard work and planning and taking care of all the organizational stuff that you have to do to put something like this together. And then finally, thank you to all our member investors and board members who make RAEDI's work possible. Please join me in a round of applause for thanking all those who take part. A lot of good things happened in 2011. We welcomed the location of Dynasil Biomedical, who came to Rochester because they hired one of Rochester's most prolific and successful inventors, Dr. Daniel Erickson, to be the scientific leader of their local research and development lab that's located out in northwest Rochester. And speaking of inventions, in case you haven't heard, IBM set a new record for patents in 2011, earning over 6,000 patents. 500 of those came out of Rochester, Minnesota. Congratulations and thank you, IBM. During the past 12 months, the Rochester area began to show signs of emerging from recession. And I'm pleased with the number of business projects that RAEDI has been engaged in and facilitated over the past year. Working with the City of Rochester, we helped locate 3 new companies in the Minnesota Bio Business Center, Cardio 3 Biosciences, Mill Creek Life Sciences, and Biomold. You're going to hear a little bit more from Cardio 3 and Mill Creek a little later. Biomold has developed an innovative technology for making surgical screws, and they'll use the Bio Business Center location as a center to partner with Mayo and others in developing new products. Working together again with the City of Rochester, and this time also with the Minnesota Department of Economic Development, we were also able to successfully obtain Job Z designation for Proventus, one of our young medical information technology firms that's now expanding out in northwest Rochester. Since our inception, RAEDI has either directly or indirectly invested to help businesses secure more than $350 million worth of financing. During the past year and through our strategic partnership with the 504 Corporation, RAEDI staff led by Dwayne Lee and assistance from Laura Hart and Jim Snackenberg helped 15 businesses secure approval of over $30 million of fixed asset loans, which will create nearly 100 new jobs. We currently have 19 more loans in progress, representing another $37 million of investment, as well as a couple other possible business locations and expansions we're working on. So things are picking up and activity is good. We're working hard to do what we can to facilitate projects that result in new capital investment and job creation for Rochester area residents. Looking ahead, some of the things we're going to be doing is we're going to be working with the Rochester Sales Tax Extension Committee. Was recently formed to promote reauthorization of the Rochester sales tax, because the dollars that will be used there will be used in a way to stimulate and invest in the Rochester area's continued growth. You'll hear a little bit more about that in a few minutes. We'll be facilitating the formation of a local angel investment network. We'll be evaluating the possibility of establishing a local entrepreneurial center. And we'll be promoting the Rochester area as a place to do business through our attendance at Bio International, which this year will be held in Boston. Finally, we're going to continue to collaborate and partner with our investors, member communities, SCORE, Small Business Development Center, Department of Economic Development, Southern Minnesota Initiative Fund, and others. And of course, we'll continue to work closely with Rochester Area Chamber of Commerce, led by the President, John Wade. Pays me always to mention his name. But also, as Sid Hartman says, is a close personal friend as well as a good partner. But more seriously, our missions, while different, do complement one another. And John and I both realize that community interests are better served when our two organizations are working together. We both believe that what got us here is not necessarily going to get the job done in the future, and therefore we're going to be working together, taking a hard look at what we can do organizationally to make sure the Rochester area has the organizational capacity and resources needed to meet the needs of area businesses and a growing economy. You're going to hear more about that later. Not today, but later this year. It's now my pleasure to introduce Melissa Brinkman, Chair of our Board of Directors, and she has a few comments she'd like to share. Melissa?
Thank you, Gary, and good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's enjoying their meal so far, and those that haven't received theirs, that you will. I have a few brief comments I'd like to share with everyone today, but before I do that, I'd like to first invite Mr. Norm Doty to come join me on the stage. Norm was our chair for 2011, and I just want to let Dave Oath know that you have like 11 months to get your hair on. Okay. You got matching dues. Norm, on behalf of the Board of Directors, I'd like to present you with a small token of our appreciation for your leadership and service this past year, and I look forward to continue to work with you and share product secrets soon. I'm here. Norm finished his year as chair, leading our board and staff through a strategic planning process that's helping to navigate us through the next couple of years. So look forward to the work that we all put in together at the end of the year. And again, thanks for your leadership. I'm looking forward to serving my year as chair of RAEDI's Board of Directors. And as we look to the remainder of 2012, we do so with a sense of hope and optimism that our state and nation is finally beginning to emerge out of recession. There is a general sense that things are beginning to improve, but from a business perspective, there's still apprehension about our nation's economic future. We need to be mindful of this because if we've learned anything over the past 4 years, it's that we're not immune to what happens on a national and global scale. RAEDI, however, must remain focused and doing what we can to facilitate growth of our local economy. And we believe there is reason for all of us here in the Rochester area, to be optimistic about what lies ahead. While the data will likely still be adjusted, preliminary job numbers indicate that 2011 was our first year since 2007 that Rochester area experienced a growth in jobs, annual employment, with more than 1,400 jobs created in the local economy. So that is fantastic here in Rochester area. The local unemployment rate of 4.7% is well below the state average of 5.8% and significantly lower than the national average of 8.5%. This is great news for our community and indicative of a growing local economy. Yes, the Rochester area is pleased with to have one of the most creative and resilient local economies on earth. Our local healthcare sector is second to none, and even though RAEDI did not provide any assistance to Mayo or Olmsted Medical, it's important to recognize the spark that these two entities provided this past year. Mayo's construction of their data center and Jacobson building to house the proton beam therapy, along with Olmsted Medical's opening of the Northwest Clinic, represents more than $200 million in new investment and are creating hundreds of new jobs for area residents. Thank you, Mayo and Olmsted Medical. The RAEDI Board has identified 5 key strategies to guide our work as we strive to fulfill our organizational mission, which is to retain, grow, and diversify the Rochester area economy. Those strategies are listed on the annual reports, which are on your tables, so I encourage you to take those with you and take a look at them. I will call attention to strategy number 3 in the annual report, which states that RAEDI is here to, one of our strategies is to advocate, create, participate, and support productive collaborations that align or provide the efficient deployment of area assets and resources, thereby increasing local capacity for achieving long-term sustained economic growth. I know that's a mouthful, but I bring it to your attention only to emphasize the fact that accomplishing this mission is a big task, one that RAEDI does not and cannot do alone. We rely on the strong partnerships and collaborations with area organizations such as the Rochester Area Chamber of Commerce and many of you in this room today. We each have a role to play, but we must work together in collaboration and partnership to ensure our long-term growth. The program we put together for you today provides a glimpse of how some of the knowledge discovery taking place in our community is being commercialized and converted into new economic opportunity. We believe this is just a beginning, and RAEDI is committed to doing its part to facilitate and turn its beginning into what we hope becomes a new local regenerative medicine industry. While doing this, we must also keep the needs of other local industries in mind: manufacturing, food and dairy, information technology, and hospitality, to name a few. These are important local industries that we need to remember to keep in mind. I'd like to thank all of you out there who have joined my company, Custom Alarm, by investing in RAEDI's mission. And for those of you out there who have yet to invest, I definitely encourage you to do so. We have some heavy lifting ahead of us, which will require additional community investment. So you can expect to hear more about, from us on this in the future. But in the meantime, please see me or Gary Smith if you have any information, or if you'd like to find out more information. I look forward to serving my year as chair of the board, working with our members, board, staff, and all of you in the room today. Thank you very much.